Welcome to the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner. This week on the Royal Corner, Sophie Chandauka, Sentebale's interim chair, weaponizes unfounded allegations against the Sussexes to mask governance irregularities at the charity. Also on the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner, as ever Meghan lifestyle brand products sell out in 60 minutes. Work-shy Queen-in-waiting Kate 2019 summer dress designer launches A4 paper styled bridal collection. And King Charles returns to public duties by blowing a carrot at a vegetable orchestra at the Palace of Windsor. And last but not least, side chick turned Queen Camilla attends domestic abuse anniversary and admires a Humpty Dumpty egg. How useful is she? All this and more in this week's Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner. So before I jump into the show, I would like to thank everybody who's come to listen to the podcast last week and also have been enjoying my shorts that have been dropping on YouTube. The Royal Corner is a feature of my weekly political talk show called The Headley Highlight Show. It's held every Friday at 8 p.m. GMT, 3 p.m. Eastern Time on X. I'm not doing it this week because I'm having a bit of time off. It's Easter, but I'll be back the following week. I'm aiming to get to 2,000 subscribers, but first I've got to get to 1,000 subscribers, and I've got 850. So if you would like to be the 851st, 4th, 5th, 3rd, or, the 860th, please do like, comment and share, and I will be delivered directly into your DMs each week, which is fabulous, darling. Please do visit my website at deniseheadley.com, where you can also make a donation. I am partial to free wings and chips and a Miranda, or rice peas chicken oxtail with coleslaw and plantain from my local Caribbean shop, washed down by a fruit punch, of course. So let's jump into this week's splendiferous production, because it's splendid and different, just like me, darling. Right. First royal story. Now, this story is going to slightly leach into the second story because I think the two are linked, even though I might just separate them slightly. Sophie Chandauka, Sentebale's interim chair, weaponizes unfounded allegations against the Sussexes to mask governance irregularities at the charity. Just as a brief bit of context, if you're not familiar with the history of Sentebale, Sentebale was set up in 2006 by Prince Harry and Prince Ciso to honour both of their mothers, the more famous mother being obviously Harry's mum, Princess Diana. The charity is focused on the preservation of young lives, essentially, and it's about children who are living with HIV. They look at preventative care. They also do support for health initiatives, education, and also bringing acceptance and psychological support to children who are affected by the disease. So before I jump into the detail, I'm going to drop my conclusions straight away. Sophie Chandauka allowed herself to be used. Based on my research, she made unfounded allegations against Prince Harry, which Sky News put into the atmosphere and then later removed, knowing full well the impact of doing that. She's branded herself as a whistleblower and a victim of misogynoir, harassment, bullying at scale, serious allegations that you're levelling at people. And in my opinion, she used her race and her gender, and she weaponized that and let it feed into a hate narrative which is there for the Sussexes. Knowing full well that their allegations of racism against the royal family have stuck and wounded their brand, and she allowed herself to be used in that fashion. I also think that this whole exercise in trying to destroy the reputation of Sentebale was being used to throw, as ever, off course, to damage the conversation that's going to take place in and around the brand. And because of what the brand now represents, it represents a branding empire which is taking shape based on the success story of the couple. And also, do you know what? I actually think, in my opinion, Prince William has his sticky little paws all over it. In my opinion. And I'm going to tell you why I think Prince William's sticky little grubby paws are all over it. Because one of the things I found out was that the person that Sophie Chandauka appeared on Sky News with is a guy called Ian Rawlinson. Ian Rawlinson is a trustee and has been a trustee on the Tusk Trust. Ian Rawlinson is well known in royal circles to be a supporter of Prince William. He was the chairman of the Tusk Trust from 2002 to 2013, and then he was on the advisory board for 2014 to 2020, and he still sits on the advisory board, and he's also an honorary vice president. And his colleague and friend on the Tusk Trust is one Patrick Hiverson. He is the co-founder and managing partner of the London-based strategic communications consultancy firm Milltown Partners. But before that, interestingly, he was the communications secretary to the Prince of Wales and his family. So my question is, what were you doing sitting next to Sophie Chandauka? And that's a very important question. Why is someone so close to Prince William trying to get involved in Sentebale? Well, it turns out that Mr. Rawlinson attended an event as early as October of last year. In fact, it was October the 3rd, 2024. Let's not forget what was happening for the Sussexes. Prince Harry was in court suing News Group newspapers, who also own Sky News. It's a Murdoch outfit. The same Sky News that gave Miss Chandauka and Mr. Ian Rawlinson a platform. How unsurprising. Lot of coincidences, isn't it? And the reason I've come to give you this roundabout bit of information is because I think William's hands are involved in it. There's too many links to him. And this goes to my point that Sophie Chandauka, in my opinion, allowed herself to be used. I also pointed to the fact that she made unfounded allegations against Prince Harry. Harassment, bullying and misogyny are actually crimes. It's sexism and racism. And you can't allege a crime without evidence. And that's exactly what she did. She started putting out allegations against the Sussexes, namely against Prince Harry, and trying to malign the trustee board in the process. And all the while not focusing on the fact that the trustee board probably had a vote of no confidence in her, and they all resigned en masse in protest. And in my opinion, she was using those allegations, which are very significant, to deflect attention away from what those trustees were concerned about, and also later what the Charity Commission is currently investigating. I think, in my opinion, as I keep qualifying these things, she knew exactly what would happen if she launched an attack against the Sussexes. She's not a stupid woman. And that was her way of moving attention away from herself and her failings within the charity. Because what has come about subsequent to that, if you've been following the stories, because all now the newspapers are taking a slightly different angle because the Charity Commission's involved, is that she was spending significant sums of money on consultants to pivot Sentebale towards an American audience, and the money that she was spending did not bear any fruit. So they were providing what's called governance and oversight, which is the role of a board or a trustee board. I don't believe for 1 minute she didn't get advice as to how she needed to maneuver herself next in order to feed into the narrative of hatred, because that's what it is. I don't care what no one says. It's a hate narrative against Harry and his wife and his family. And she, in my opinion, got advice how to do that. And this is what makes me so exercised by it. As a black woman to another black woman, she sought to engage in reputational damage. I don't believe for 1 minute she wasn't aware of what the Sussexes are doing. in terms of their business ventures, in terms of their products, in terms of their charitable works. And it's all over the newspapers. Every time you turn on MSN, there's something negative about the couple. So she knew. I mean, if you read the statement she put out, she's there telling everyone how educated she is and how privileged she was to have an education, studying in London and America. Continuous aggrandizement of oneself. She just oozes that vibe. Because she's working with Sentebale. You know, every time I saw her, she wanted to be up close next to Harry. She must have said that Harry was looking aside ting. He's not interested, my sister, okay? Jog on. He's got his wife. And he's happy there. Her whole body language was given, oh, I'm just as good. I can be a star as well. I've gone off on a tangent now. Yes, the point I was making is that as a black woman, she was happy to be used to tear down another black woman. She started to bring Meghan Duchess of Sussex, into, as people would say, into your cankerlang, yeah? Into your confusion. Every time I saw her and I saw her speak, her whole vibe was one of superiority. And, you know, I'm so fabulous, look at me. And fundamentally, she seemed somewhat disconnected from the reality of the charity. No one was coming there to look at you. They're coming to see Harry and Meghan and Serena and any other of her celebrity friends that she was going to bring. You weren't bringing in the bacon. They were. And Harry didn't think you were pretty either. You were just peed off all round. And this is the reason why I think she weaponized her race and gender to harm the couple. That question around racism in the royal family, I mean, sorry, if you've got 2 ounces of sense and you've led a life where you're melanated, brown or whatever, this stuff is not a surprise to you. But the fact is, it was said in that interview which has stuck on the royal family and nothing they do can shake it. And she then was providing her issue as a counter to that. You know, now you had Piers Morgan talking about, oh, well, it's a black woman. It's a black woman saying it, so it's got cogency. Shut up, Piers, man. Just rest your beak, Piers. You obviously don't know about the structure of racism and the way in which our own community is often weaponized for our own subjugation. So do some reading, Piers, before you open your face again and have no idea what you're talking about. Turns out that Sophie Chandauka was paying way too much in consultancy fees and wasn't getting any returns for the charity. And the trustee board, in their rightful governance position, said, we need to talk about that. We need to address it. And I don't think she was receptive to that. And also the minutes that were taken at meetings and stuff like that, they were allegedly somewhat manipulated. Then you got the fishy fingers of William smelling high. Yeah, because it turns out that the person she appointed to the board irregularly, let's just be clear, you cannot appoint someone to the board as a trustee. There's a process. That's why you have a governing document. That's why you got a constitution and it's registered at Companies House, because that's what happens. It governs the activities and the things of the charity. So even that in itself smells stink like fish. You can't just appoint Ian Rawlinson the next day on the 25th. Harry resigned on the 10th and then you say he's the new trustee. Sorry, they only get appointed at the AGM, which is the annual general meeting. So you can't do that. That in itself would make alarm bells ring for the Charity Commission. Ding dong, ding dong. Hello, Constitution, your Memorandum of Articles of Association. Hello, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. That's the bells ringing, the alarm bells. So as I said, going back to my previous point, how come he's there at that pace of time? You're not using proper protocol and proper governance procedures to appoint people, and then suddenly he's sitting on the board. And Prince William is involved with the Tusk charity. And you were there since October of last year. What are you doing there? You know what I'm saying? So there we go. And finally, her whole body language was given, oh, Harry, I'm great, pick me. No, no, and no again. So that's my 2 pence on the whole Sentebale situation, and it is a bit of an evolving feast. And I'm very keen to see that the Charity Commission, because the charity is registered in the UK and it is governed by the Charity Commission in this country, and the Charity Commission is not there to adjudicate on issues of arbitration. They're only there to assess whether or not the trustees acted in line with their governing document, which is the Memorandum and Articles of Association, which I just previously mentioned. Oh yeah, and finally, in relation to this, because I'm going to jump onto As Ever in a minute. In relation to this, the reason why I think this was something to, it was used as another weapon to beat the couple, is because As Ever launched the products, and it was the beginning of a very significant brand initiative which has taken place with the Sussexes, and they wanted to make sure that whenever anyone went online, it was tarnished with negative headlines, as well as to damage Harry. And I also think that Prince William needs to get some psychiatric help, because his loathing of his brother, in my opinion, is pathological. Right. Next story in the Headley highlight shows, Royal Corner. As Ever Meghan lifestyle brand products sell out in 60 minutes. On the 2nd of April, As Ever Meghan launched her lifestyle products, and they were completely sold out. The products ranged between the prices of $12 to $28, making them very accessible to ordinary people. Highly relatable, in fact. Due to heavy traffic, the site crashed and everything was grabbed off the shelf. As I spoke about a week ago, the media interest value of the Duchess is significant, and it's also a tangible value which you can apportion a monetary metric to, and hers is 10 million. Some of the products that were available were the raspberry jam, which was $19, which featured in her Netflix show. Then she had the wildflower honey, which was $25, and that was connected to Prince Harry and Meghan's beekeeping hobby. I love bees as well. Then she had the $15 teas, and these are inspired by her personal preferences. There was also cake mixes, lemon drizzle cake mix, and also there was a handwritten letter for a couple of the keepsake jam jars. You know what? Those are going to be collectibles. Her stuff's going to move like trainers. You know what? I didn't get any jam. I should have. The importance for me, and I think which is what she's so successful at, is that this was a major move for her. Don't forget, she's doing the podcast on the 8th. She had the series As Ever Meghan, where she's doing the cooking. And then for the Mother's Day, you saw her making a lemon tart with the fingers of Lilybeth just around the cake. And what she's actually selling is her success and their success of effectively leaving the toxic institution of the firm and rising and keep rising. They had the first Netflix series. Now she's had her second podcast. Harry's done his polo shows. Now she's got As Ever Meghan. Now she's launching her actual products. Then she launched last week all of the fashion staples on Instagram. It's just this evolution of the couple. And no matter how they are try and cower them, no matter how they try and squish the sound out of them, they just keep getting louder and louder. It's a crescendo of success. Also in the Headley highlight shows, Royal Corner, work-shy queen in waiting Kate's 2019 summer dress designer launches A4 paper styled bridal collection. Now, this story is about the royals and fashion, because as we've just talked about, As Ever Meghan is just slapping the living daylights out of the firm, okay? Every which way you turn your face, boop, you get a lick, bang, you get another lick, yeah? So they're having to come with their relevance washing, and that's what this article is. And I'm giving the author sycophant of the week. Ariana Chatzizdakis tries to make an association between the future queen in waiting and a high street brand, trying to give her relevance so that she can link herself to the little people. But we know that's not working. So in this article, they make reference to a dress that Kate wore in 2019. What was that, 6 years ago? Hardly the epitome of current trends and fashion. And they want you to direct you to all of these relatable styles that you can wear. And when you go and have a look at them, every single person in the style looks like a Rose Hanbury cutout. Thin, long neck, look like A4 paper, flat back and front. Therefore, anything that's got two little strings at the side and you can drop over a peg can work. Those are the styles. And I thought to myself, who's wearing that? They all look like nightgowns and dressing gowns of things that your grandparents used to wear in the early 50s. And no big buxom African woman was going to get in any of those. So it was a no for the wait list and a no for the MIV value. No one is queuing for anything that Kate recommends. Also in the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner, King Charles blows a carrot at a vegetable orchestra at Windsor. He returned to official duties this week after blowing into a carrot because he attended an event where the instruments were vegetables. An exceptionally good use of the sovereign grant. And his side chick turned Queen Camilla attended a domestic abuse anniversary and also admired a Humpty Dumpty egg. Side chick turned Queen Camilla attended a reception at Clarence House to celebrate the 21st anniversary of Safe Lives, a domestic abuse charity. She mingled with members of the Loose Women cast, Janet Street Porter and Denise Welsh, but none of the black hosts were anywhere to be seen or present in any of the pictures of that show. She expressed her support for lowering the domestic abuse victim classification to the age of 16 and highlighted progress made. Frankly, no one was buying the performance. Because as I said several weeks ago, she had lunch with the troll who wanted to have her daughter-in-law dragged through the streets and covered with feces. She later admired a green man Humpty Dumpty egg that was sculpted by an artist called Alice Shirley. Standing next to the egg, she provided absolutely no functional use, especially given that Charles just bought a house next door to her for £3 million. And that money probably could have been donated to the charity that she was pontificating at. So that's it, darlings. I better conclude because this is going on quite long. Jump back next week to the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner. Do make a donation at deniseheadley.com where you can buy me wings and chips and a Miranda or rice, peas, chicken and oxtail at my local Caribbean shop. Like, share and also comment. Don't forget to subscribe to this splendiferous production, because it's splendid and different just like me and also like you. And I'll see you next week, darlings. Toodle pip and cut.